that Israel has been attempting to silence journalists, that there has been a war on the truth. And unfortunately, this incident has not happened in isolation of a wider event. From our perspective, the Palestinian syndicate of journalists are very clear that this was a targeted attack. The Israeli government have claimed that, in fact, the IDF have claimed that the journalists were linked to jihadists. But under the rule of law, there is a process whereby people are arrested, that there is an investigation and that due process takes place. But we have become all too familiar with the failure of due process. I think what we need as media workers and indeed as viewers and listeners to appreciate is that there is no access for independent journalism from outside of Palestine. Therefore, we rely on brave Palestinian journalists to break through the barrier. And it is very difficult not to conclude that this is an attack not just on 5 young committed journalists, but also on the truth. Long before October of last year, the International Federation of Journalists and the NUJ were very clear that we support that Israel has been attempting to silence journalists, that there has been a war on the truth. And unfortunately, this incident has not happened in isolation of a wider event. From our perspective, there is a need for a UN convention specifically on the safety of journalists, but such conventions are worthless in the circumstances where the rule book itself is being torn up.
And I just want to reiterate the line that's coming from the Israelis, that they say they hit militants. They've not said that they have killed journalists. That's the official line from Israel. So I do just have to point out that is what they have said. I want to come back to something you talked about there, the circumstances in Gaza and the number of journalists, Palestinian journalists, that are able to operate. Have we any idea the numbers that are still operating there, trying to get their stories out? You touched there on the difficulties of them trying to show the world what like in Gaza is like.
We have no definitive figures on that. From our perspective, the main work of the NUJ has been support of the IFJ Safety Fund, where we send in very basic aid to assist journalists in that coverage. Many of these journalists, are not just the targets themselves. The families of journalists in Palestine have also been targeted. So wives, husbands, brothers, sisters and children have been attacked because of the professional commitment of colleagues, and that also is extremely worrying.